Hi and welcome to another video update from the Fire Brigades Union here at the Union's head office in London. We're joined by General Secretary Matt Rack to discuss a pay offer that's been made by the fire employers and which is currently out for consultation. Matt, now this pay offer is getting talked about in the press as a 2% now and then 3% early next year, but of course it's nowhere near as easy as that. But just to begin with, an initial 2%. The government set its pay cap at 1%. Does this mean that the pay cap's over?
That's certainly what we've said, Tam. The government has set a pay policy since 2010 when the coalition came in. That was 0% and then 1%. That's been applied across the public sector. This is the first pay offer for an annual pay increase which breaches that. We've used the phrase "it's dead in the water." The government needs to wake up to that. They've denied that. They're saying fire service pay is separate. But the fire service employers, although there's no legal responsibility to comply with government pay policy, they have followed government pay policy since 2010. They're now clearly not following it. I think every other public sector employer needs to do the same, and I think public sector workers need to say nobody's having a 1% pay rise anymore.
Absolutely. Okay, now to go into the detail of this offer, because it is a complex offer. Our members are currently consulting on it, so let's try and dig into it. An initial 2% across the board payment. Are there any conditions set to that initial 2%?
Yeah, it is important. The Executive Council has said this isn't adequate, but it's nevertheless important that we are accurate about what the employers have said. So the 2% is dependent on one thing. It is dependent on the discussions carrying on the broadening of the role around the work streams that we've discussed under the NJC, and it's contingent upon the EMR trials that have been in place carrying on during those discussions. So it is contingent, dependent upon those issues, but not upon reaching agreement on that. That's the next phase of the offer.
But these EMR trials have been quite controversial in some areas in the union, and there has been discussion about how long can a trial possibly go on for. I mean, is this initial 2%, is that a time set to it, a time limit?
No, that's a good point. The only time that has ever been set by our conference was November of this year, and we've made that point to the employers, and that's why the idea of these discussions going on into next year, although it's very complex issues we're discussing, I don't think that we're in a position to recommend or agree those discussions carrying on into next year.
Okay, now the 3% pay rise in April, which also comes with agreement for pay rises in 2018, 2019, and should we want it 2020 as well. There's also other conditions attached to that. What are they? Yeah,
there's 2 points I think relating to those next lot of payments. So what's called the stage 2, and this is why it's a bit confusing. Stage 2 is part of a 2017 settlement. So in total, if everything went through, and that looks unlikely currently, if everything went through, that would be 5% in terms of the 2017 pay. But then we've been very clear, and their offer is actually clear. It does say there would be further increases needed for 2018 and 2019 that are separate from the 2% and the 3%. So I think it's important that people are aware of that. And as you say, possibly 2020 as well. We don't know what those figures are, and we'd have to negotiate what those figures are. And the other side of it is the dependence upon then reaching agreement on those broadening of the roles, and for what the employers have put in there, dependent for them on getting funding from central government for making that work sustainable.
Well, that is an important point, Mark, because in the offer, the employers say that they can only pay the money if they actually receive the money. It's an extraordinary statement. What does it mean?
Well, we know that fire service funding has been devastated over the past 7 years by the central government, and that's why we've had the cuts, that's why we've had the pay freeze. The government funding has built the pay freeze into the funding mechanisms. So they've got an argument with central government, but we also know there are fire services who've got reserves, and we've said, well, start looking at your reserves to make those payments. We've certainly said how do you expect people to sign up for a sort of Jan tomorrow offer, which is what some of this looks like. Why should we be accepting a 2017 payment being paid in 2018? So those are the sort of details that I think led the Executive Council to conclude that this was not adequate.
So just to be clear about this 3%, it means that the union and the employers would have to agree pay rises for 2018, 2019 and possibly 2020, and also agree what they term the broadening of the role of a firefighter. That's EMR, I take it.
Well, there's two areas we're looking at the moment, EMR and MTFA. Those are the two areas, and we've also been very clear to the employers that these discussions are not about having a local employers free-for-all to rewrite people's contracts on whatever the chief dreams up as an idea, a good idea for people to do. We're not signing up to that at all, and they understand that. So it's the two areas, EMR and MTFA, and the subsequent payments, so stage 2, and then you might call them stage 3, stage 4, and possibly stage 5 payments, 3 of which have got no figures attached to them yet, would be about reaching the agreement overall on the pay structure and what is expected for people to do for that pay structure, so broadening of the role sort of discussions.
Now, Matt, the Executive Council have said that this offer is not adequate, and they're therefore recommending to members that it's not accepted in its current form. Why are they saying that?
The Executive Council was concerned that about this jam tomorrow element of it, i.e. that it's not clear what the payment in 2018, 2019, 2020 is, that there's no figure attached to that. People clearly want to know before any agreement was reached. The idea of the 2017 payment being paid, part of it being paid in 2018, again, there were concerns about that. The reliance on central government funding, the Executive Council are concerned about that. And also I think our members on the ground would want to know exactly what is being expected of them if they're going to sign up to, for example, a slight change in the role maps or whatever. But these are clearly important issues that need to be thrashed out, and we're not there as yet at all.
Okay, Matt, well, it is a complex offer. It's out for consultation with our members. What should members be discussing, and actually when does the consultation come to an end?
I think well, firstly, on it coming to an end, the Executive Council meets again on the 24th, and will feed back to the employers after that. I think what we want from members is what their concerns are about what the employers are proposing. There may be members who think this is good, and people should not be afraid of speaking out and saying what their views are. But equally, I suspect lots of members will have the sort of hesitations that the Executive Council has, and they should let us know what those are. They should let us know what detail they need from the employers. They should let us know what their expectations are in terms of pay over the next few years. If we're going to make up ground, you know, do people think that there's going to be a very, very high double figure payment in 1 year, for example? Or do they think that actually over 2 or 3 years is a more realistic way of getting increases? These are the sort of things that we have to have discussions about, because the background to it is, of course, what the government is saying, which is they are sticking to a 1% pay policy. That's what Theresa May is saying currently.
Okay, Matt, well, the offer's currently out for consultation. The Executive Council has said in its current form it's not adequate and it's not acceptable. What's been the employers' reaction to that?
To be fair to them, the employers have told us they want to continue engaging and discussing. We have another Joint Secretaries meeting scheduled very shortly, and the employers' side chair, so this is the employers' representative, who's the Councillor Nick Chard, who is a Conservative councillor, has issued a statement through the Local Government Association, which people could see on the website, where he is, again, I think helpfully, very clearly said that he thinks firefighters deserve to be paid more. We agree with him on that. The question we've got to do is how much more and how quickly do they get it, and what have they got to do to get that increase.
Matt, thanks very much indeed. For more details on this, including all the details of the offer, please go to our website. That's www.fbu.org.uk. For more immediate updates on the day-to-day work of the union, you can follow us on Twitter, and that's @FBU National. Until next time, thanks very much, and thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Tom.